watching.
Subscribe.
Hello, you're watching ScreenStalker. I'm Elfagador Laurie Blake. This is Chopper Pete Quinnell, and today we are talking about a report from the Wall Street Journal that said a source within Sony has been talking about their sort of plans going into the PlayStation 5.
So a source within Sony said that the company will be focusing on hardcore games and ramp up the number of big exclusive titles from big publishers when it releases the PS5. So less focus on kind of the indie, smaller productions, and more on like the AAA blockbusters that we know and love.
Which has worked for Sony so far. Like, you know, Sony's big thing, I think, has been its in-house studio library, you know, like your Horizons and your Uncharted and Sony Santa Monica making God of War and all that stuff. That's what Sony's really sold themselves on throughout this entire generation. And it's something that Microsoft is only just catching up with now, with its like last E3, they were like, we've bought this studio and Obsidian and Ninja Theory and all these guys, and they're now in-house Microsoft studios. Microsoft are now realizing again, you've got to put the money into your internal exclusive software. But news of Sony, funnily enough, focusing all of their efforts onto their big titles has upset execs at some of the smaller indie studios. But ultimately, Sony, the source said, Sony perceived themselves as being in a blockbuster rivalry with Microsoft and also possibly Google, who have Scrooge McDuck amount of money in the bank and can just keep chucking it at things until they have all the games.
They can literally make multiple stadia, and I don't mean the console stadia, I mean literal multiple stadiums.
If that was where Stadia was based, it's just they buy a stadium and fill it with servers. This is where we keep Assassin's Creed now, everyone. It is kind of a scary time, I imagine, for these platform holders, because you've got people like Epic Games coming onto the scene who were struggling to a degree before Fortnite. Like, they were struggling with their games development. They've always made money off Unreal. But then suddenly they get this one blockbuster game that clicks with people and they have more money than God. And kids are just going, yeah, have all the money. And so they could just go, oh, we're just going to do a Steam 2 now, and we're going to give people a better percentage of the revenue. We're going to buy exclusives outright. And if Epic can do that off Fortnite, what can Google do off of owning everybody's faces and names and all of YouTube and every search you've ever done?
Literally everything.
If Google wanted to blackmail you, it'd be so easy.
So easy.
I promise, it's hard to blackmail somebody when everyone's done the same thing.
That's true, yeah.
And what? I've looked at porn, all right?
So interestingly, when they said that they were being blockbuster rivals with Microsoft and Google, they were saying they're not really rivals with Nintendo, because Nintendo are going to be focusing more on younger gamers and indie development, and apparently Sony doesn't see them as a major rival at all. Which is crazy to me.
It's interesting that those two companies did have a rivalry back in the day with the PlayStation and the N64, and Sony won that through PS2 up to GameCube. It was when Nintendo decided amongst themselves to completely diverge from the regular branch of console making that they suddenly found success with the Wii, not so much with the Wii U, but with the Switch, especially the 3DS and all that stuff.
If you look at E3 this year, all of the announcements about like the 5th gen consoles, like here's all the specs, here's all the things that it can do, here's all the numbers and the stats. Nintendo's just like, you can pick it up. Woohoo! And people love that. But I think what they mean by not a rival, I think they've got to mean it's just we're not focusing on the same marketing, not on the same marketing strategies or the same market at all.
There was a further report by Push Square, and they noted that Sony has been quietly expanding its in-house developers to gear up for this blockbuster rivalry with Microsoft. So Guerilla Games has apparently been growing, and you would assume working on the follow-up to Horizon, likely, possibly maybe another Killzone game or something completely different. You don't really know. And apparently a new studio has been created in San Diego, which is working on a new Uncharted game.
I mean, that has money written all over it, let's be real.
Yeah.
It makes sense for them. If they're going to go blockbusters, Uncharted, throw it in there. Why not? And if you've got Guerilla Games, like you said, you just listed off a bunch of titles that could work under that banner.
Yeah.
So, yeah, this seems to fall in line perfectly with what they're trying to say.
What's interesting is the new studio a branch of Naughty Dog that's working on the Uncharted game, or is it literally the Uncharted license is being given to a new studio, which frees up Naughty Dog's two teams that they have, because they have an Uncharted team and they have the Last of Us team, to work on something completely different. So are we going to get not only a new Last of Us game very, very shortly, a new Uncharted game coming out very soon, probably close-ish to the launch of PS5, you would hope, and then something else from Naughty Dog, their next-gen series. In the
Last
way
of Us 3.
Yeah, well, that's the thing. But that's the thing is because Naughty Dog haven't had a new IP since the PlayStation 3 when they had 2 new IPs. Before that was Jak and Daxter. Maybe they're just doing Jak and Daxter again. Well, thank you for watching. Let us know in the comments down below what you would like to see from a new Uncharted game and what sort of archaeological mystery you would like it to explore. Please also watch the videos over there for more awesome ScreenStalker content. I've been Elfakador Laurie Blake. This has been Chopper Pete Quinnell. And remember, we're watching.